So at this juncture, may I welcome our guest speaker of the day. I'll give him 15 minutes to talk to us. Then the PA chair will take over. Karibu, our guest speaker. You will introduce yourself. I know you are an academician and well exposed in matters education. So welcome.
Thank you very much, Madam Chief Principal, parents, students, the Board of Management, Parents Association, our wonderful teachers, the non-teaching and support staff. My name is Reverend Michael Kisabuli Masambu. My birthplace is in a very small village, and I have a reason to say what I want to say. A very small village in Bungoma called Matibo, around Chwele. And I make a home in another small village called Wapohonyi. I'm a teacher, but I quit teaching in 1996. So my last Form 4 class to handle was a 1996 class. I travel all over the world as a motivational speaker and an academic coach. And so my purpose here today is very simple: to encourage you, to speak to parents, to speak to teachers, and to speak to all of us that are involved in the development and the overall vision and mission of Loreto Girls. Originally, I was given 1 hour. I have been shocked to be given 15 minutes. And I'm going to try to do it in 5 minutes. Parents, I want to share with you something that will really help you. And all of you that are here, the title of my talk is How to Position Yourself to Attract Success. So students, if you are writing, and that's why I wanted your attention, because some of you are struggling in your studies, and parents, we are struggling to raise up children that we desire to have, leaders and pastors who are here. We don't know why we are struggling in, achieving what we ought to achieve. So my talk is how to position yourself to attract success. You know, success that is good is the success that you attract. It is the sweetest. It is the success that will always be there. And I want to give an example of two parents. Let's say one parent is a teacher like myself or our chief principal, and has a son or has a daughter called Brenda. And another parent from that same village where I come from, or where the principal comes from, is this poor parent who cannot afford school fees for her children or for his children. And this parent, these are both, this guy and myself are parents. I'm raising my Brenda, and she's raising her Jebet. And girls, listen. For Jebet to pay school fees, they have got to go and work on the farm of Madam Principal, or come and work on the farm of that police officer or that businessman. who is your father or who is your mother. And as they are working on your on that farm to raise the little money to go to school, let's say they see the president come passing, and the poor miserable mother of Jebet looks straight in the face of Jebet and says, daughter, I will sell everything including my skirt. Na hiyo skirt anasema hivyo. Alinunua ile yenye anasema kwamba fakiria. Lakini anasema I will sell it. Mpaka ufanye namna gani? Wazazi mpaka ufanye nini? Usome. That is Mama Jebet. A poor lady, she has no shoes. She's telling the daughter, I will sell anything and I will do anything, my daughter, even if it's to go and wash toilets. I will do it. I desire that one day you become president. And then we have Brenda. Her father like me, or like this other guy, a teachers. And so Brenda is this kind of person. She comes home, she's in Form 2 in Laredo Girls. And Jebet is in that local secondary school, day school. And so Brenda comes to mommy and says, I don't know whether Brenda will go to mommy or to daddy. And she, you know, daddy, yani kwa hii nyumba yetu sisi kumekaa namna gani hata tunapo music poa, yani kumekaa tu kama kumatanga. Sasa mimi nataka tununue home theater. So mama nani wazazi? Umesahau. Unajua tunataka twende pamoja. Mama nani huyo? Mama Brenda anasema baby hapana shida, lakini sasa unajua sasa tumekuwa na shida. Sasa hiyo kitu wanauzaje? Mama nzuri ni kama 150 lakini za kawaida ni kama 70. And mommy says, acha tuone tunajua ni mwisho wa mwezi. And buys Brenda a home theater. So in the house there is music. There is a huge screen. Brenda is enjoying life. But Jebet has a dream planted in her heart by who? Her mother. What is the desire? To become what? President. I want to ask you a simple question, wonderful parents. 15 years from today, which family will have a name and which family will be history? Which family will have a name? Jebet's family. Why? And what is wrong with Brenda? What's the problem with the Brenda? Is it Brenda or the father and the mother, right? What were these two parents doing? Brenda's mother and father were creating an environment for failure. And Jebet was creating an environment for what? Success. So the way we are saying like these parents, what environment are you creating at home for this wonderful daughter of yours? It is not about money. Wacha niwaulize wazazi. Shangazi alilaani Brenda. Simunijibu wazazi. Kwa nini mnanigomea? Hata mimi ndio niko annoyed kwa sababu wakati waliniambia nisungumuze ipita. Sasa nyinyi simuniunge mkono. So I'm asking. Shangazi alilaani Brenda. Kuna mchawi kwa kijiji aliroga Brenda. Nani aliroga Brenda? Wazazi wote mkoje mlala hapa chini mtu aniletee kiboko. Wala okay, I'm sorry. So teachers, even us as teachers, how do you position your subject to attract success? Let me tell you, someone will say, oh, the computer guys were able to get 11 point something because it is easy. It is not. It is because of what that teacher is doing in working on the student's attitude, preparing the students for that thing. So I don't want to take long. I want to share with you 3 things, and I sit down. Number 1, if you want to position yourself to attract success. Teacher, if you want to position your subject to attract success. Parents, if you want to position your family to attract success. Principals that are here, if you want to position your school to attract success. Pastors and leaders that are here. There are 3 cardinal principles that I want to share with you. And students, I want you to know this. If you will embrace these 3 cardinal principles that I want to share with you, I'm telling you, you are going to see improvement in your performance. And I'm not saying these things because being a motivational speaker, I just want to make you feel nice. So number 1, parents and teachers, if you want to see success come in your family, teachers, parents, students, number 1, you must raise your standards. That's number 1. Standards of doing things. Raise your standards. What does it mean to raise standards? I want you to write if you are writing. Those of you who are good students who write things. And I'm so happy that I can see many parents writing. And I respect you, Daddy, I respect you, Mommy, for what you're doing. Because these are things I want to share with you so that you may share with someone else. Number 1, we have said raise your standards. What is the meaning of raising standards? It is to expect and demand more from yourself first before you expect and demand from other people. I'll repeat. Raising standards means expecting and demanding, not just expecting. You expect and demand more from yourself first before you expect and demand from other people. If I'm a teacher of English and literature in English, and I'm teaching government inspector, or I'm teaching Romeo and Juliet, that's another generation. I'm teaching the winner and other stories. If I want my students to understand, I must read that book myself at least 4 times. I've got to raise the standard in the way I understand the content of the story. As a teacher. As a student, if you want to pass exam, don't tell us what mommy and daddy have not done for you. Ask yourself, what must I do with whatever little we have to succeed? I am a major sponsor of education in Bungoma County. If a few of you who come from Bungoma will know what I'm talking about. I pay school fees personally from my pocket. I pay school fees for 650 students in Bungoma County. See a CDF, because I'm not a member of parliament. See a county government. I pay school fees for 20 students, Kibabi University. 20 students, Masinde Muliro University. And listen, I want you to listen to me. One thing that is so devastating girls is that some of the girls that are put on my scholarship program, it's called Kijito Jatumaini Foundation, I am paying school fees for them, and then performance is going like this. And I asked them, why are you not performing well? And she wanted to pass it. Yani hata natoka tu nyumbani hadi sinako shopping ya kutosha, wanampatia tu sabuni ya kipande, na watu wengine shuleni wanaoka na bathing lotion. Sasa inaleta tu stress. Inakuletea stress. Na umepewa nafasi ya kufanya nini? Kusoma. Uko kwa shule nzuri kama hii yenye mnakula breakfast, mnakula lunch, mnakula supper. Na mtu mwenye anapika tomo kabisa kwao nyumbani hawana chakula cha supper. Ati niko na stress. Before you say how your father has failed to buy you the basics, ask yourself, what am I doing to better my academics? So, what did we say, parents? Point number one is, if we want to attract success in our lives, raise our standards. And number two, what are we supposed to do? What is the meaning of raising our standards? Expecting and doing what? Demanding more from myself before I expect and demand more from other people. What are you expecting and demanding from yourself? Now, these girls may not understand. You hear, oh, Reverend MASAMBU travels all over the world, and you think, oh, yenye tulizaliwa vizuri. I want to give you a bit of my story. I'm a child. I was born to my daddy when he was 78. Yes. And so what does that mean? That guy did not participate in my education. And that guy had so many wives, and don't make any mistake of asking me how many they were. That was his business. That was my dad, Joanna MASAMBU. And he had 65 children, 43 girls, 22 boys. So when time came for me to go to school, I went to a wonderful Catholic school called Matibo RC Primary School. And when we went to Matibo RC Primary School, girls, do you know what? My mother didn't have anything. Can you give me some free paper? That's just not for anything. Okay, let me use this. My mother went to Chwele Market and bought a sheet of paper, like a white thing from Tumba. Na akakata kipande ya chako, ingine ni yangu, na akatengeneza shati. Katoboa hapo moja penye kipe inafanya nini? Inatokea. That is my shirt. This is what I used at Matibo RC Primary School for 3 years. Shati mrefu, bila suruali, bila underwear. Mtu asiambie jirani yake, bila suruali, bila nini? Underwear. And we had a wonderful teacher. She was Catholic. She was called Madam Mary Scholastica Opicho. She used to teach us girls. She teaches us, elementaries. A, E, I, O, U, U, O, E, A, A, K, K. All those kinds of things. And then we had TKK books. So Madam Mary teaches us the first lesson, the second lesson, and she comes to class and she makes a very interesting announcement. Or no, she asks a question. Now that we have finished 2 lessons, this is time for what, pupils? And the answer will be, Pee! Kila mmoja wenu zungumza kama watu wa class 1, sema Pee! What's the time for? Pee! Na Madam Mary analeta tangazo wasichana ambalo sitawaisahau. Anasema wakati wa Pee, sasa wavulana wote toa mashati twende uwanjani. Okay. For how many years? 3 years. This character that is talking to you danced in the field, cartwheel, grab walking, everything naked. What was the reason? Poverty. Poverty. I remember in 1976, 78, a cabinet secretary came to our home. Mheshimiwa Nathan Munoko, some of you wazee mnamjua Mheshimiwa. He's the oldest member of the first parliament still alive. He turned 101 in May. Honorable Munoko came home in a BMW, and people went to greet him. There was one woman who could not go and greet Mheshimiwa. You know what that woman was? The miserable Nora Nekesa, my mother. Miserable, in tatters. Sister, my mother was, the only thing she had was, you remember those old nylon camisoles? The nylon camisole, and on top were tatters. And girls, as a little boy, I sat down and I looked at my mother and I said, I will study. I will prepare. And one day my day will come. I'll get my mother out of this misery. That was my dream. That is the reason why I'm here. Let me tell you girls, there is one thing, sister, there is one thing that hurts me. Kitu ni kama mtu amemdunga mkuki is when a child ambaye mama amepeleka shule anafanya vituko, mama anaitwa wapi? Shuleni. Mama anakuja kulilia hapo kwa veranda kwa deputy. That thing, mwalimu, I don't know about you, but for me it's like mtu ameweka mkuki ndani ya moyo wangu. Because me, if there is a woman I wanted to give joy, was that miserable Nora MASAMBU. That's the only woman I wanted to give joy. And then I said, when I marry, I'll give my wife the best life. I don't want my wife to suffer like my mother. And I said, my children will not suffer the way I suffered. My wife enjoys life. My mother is still alive. My dad lived up to 101 and died. My mother is still alive. I take care of her. The dream house I wanted for her, I built for her. She enjoys her life. That girl. Girls, I said, my mother will never continue suffering. She doesn't suffer. And when I was saying like that, I didn't have a trouser. I didn't have underwear. I didn't have shoes. I wore shoes for the first time when I was when I was admitted to a school. In fact, I was to go to a very good Catholic school called St. Patrick's Naitiri Boys. Those days it was a great school, better than Friends School Kamsinga. But I could not go there. I had to go to a small Catholic school in a Kimilili town called Kimilili Secondary School, what we call today St. Luke's Kimilili Boys. And I went to that school. My uncle bought me shoes for the first time. Na sijui kutembea na kiatu. Sasa naweka kisikino kwanza, ndio naweka huko. Naweka kisikino kwanza, you know. That is how it was. I was desiring, and those of you who are pastors, I said, Lord, because finally I got saved when I was in Form 1. And I said, God, I know I will be a preacher, but I don't want to be a preacher that will depend on Mzungu money. I want to be a preacher that will create his own money. And that when I left my job, everybody thought I would be miserable. I am telling you, most of the money that I used to pay school fees for the children comes from my businesses. These guys you see here, they are from my media company. I own a media company called Angelos Media. We make money. You have got to like these guys, there is no single day wataniambia mimi, we are late. It's me who will tell them they are late. I am a leader. I must raise my standards. Parents, you are demanding. I have gone for 8 to 8 GMs, and parents are demanding for results from these ones. Wazana nasema hii shule yetu najua tukilingana. I was in one school. Mzazi mwingine, it's good to be Luya, and particularly when you are Luya and you are speaking Swahili. So wonderful, because you have your own version of Swahili. Mnyakuliko wako vitenzi. So in this particular school, mwalimu akaangalia results, student performance ni mbaya sana kwa hesabu. Sasa msasi mmoja akasimama, madam principal, vile mimi nakushaona hii English kila mwaka wanaanguka. Kila mwaka wanaanguka English. Sasa mimi naona huyu mwalimu wa Bible wanapita. Mimi naona tupatilishe huyu wa Bible akosha. Okay. But those days, mwalimu nakumbuka wale walimu wa fasihi ya Kiingereza, wakati ule ilikuwa mzazi ndiye anapaswa kununua set books. Mnakumbuka? Na mzazi mwenyewe haujasununua set books. Sasa ni standard gani umeweka? Before you demand for results from this girl, what have you done? Before this girl demands for financial support, wasichana wengine wanataka wakienda shule wafanyie shopping, unafikiri anaenda shule kufungua kioski. Wazazi, hiyo si maisha. I'm happy that my son, girls, I told you I had these were my visions. One, I said I will never live in poverty. Number two, my mother shall have, I will replace her frown with a smile. Not for a day, the rest of her life. Number three, When I marry, my wife will not suffer the way my mother and sisters suffered. And number 4, my children will enjoy life. And to enjoy life doesn't mean that nataka kwenda KFC, enda. That nataka kwenda Kalitos, enda. No, to enjoy life is to give them the best, and I demand from them. My son, my youngest son, is Form 3 at Nova Pioneer Eldoret. And now listen, this is a child going to a school where we pay 200,000 per term. 200,000 per term. But this character became a carpenter. Unajua sijawaambia story yote, nilipoenda Kibini Secondary School, my uncle paid 400 and he stopped paying school fees. So how did I continue with education? I had to become a carpenter. So the person addressing you is a carpenter. I became a carpenter to educate myself. So I'm speaking to those girls who are here. You are on CDF support. An aunt is supporting you. Grandma is supporting you. Girl, use that opportunity. Even if you don't have the shopping kama wengine, you pursue your dreams. I don't remember any single day I had Omo in high school. I only had hii kitu ilikuwa inaitwa ni Tommy ama ilikuwa inaitwa namna gani? Kitu ya walikuwa sabuni ya sabuni ilikuwa ya brown. Ilikuwa inatoka jinari ya wapi? Ya kule mlatiwa kule kwa cotton factory. Sasa hiyo ndio unaoshea, ndio unaogea. Hapo jamaa anasema I remember I was taking my son to school and we go to a supermarket and he's supposed to buy slippers. We had very nice butter and umoja slippers. And my son says, anaambia wale niliwaambia waende naye, I won't use that. You want to use that? Yeah. So mimi nikaenda naye kwa gari. Tukifika Eldoret and niambia daddy, I didn't buy slippers. I said, why? You mean there are no slippers at Khatias? He said, no, the good ones are at Rubas. So we went to Rubas. Na jamana nichomolea slippers za Nike 4,000 shillings. Nimwambia huyo Mwafrika, kabla hujabebwa ukapelekwa mochwari. Wako ngapi? Moja. Kwa gani? Twende shule. Hajawahi nunuliwa hizo. Ninamnunulia kama nani? Slippers zinasoma. Na uzuri shule yao, they don't go with pocket money because you buy money for what? You are eating 5 meals a day. Money for what? Alafu mjamadi anataka slippers. Akitaka kuoga ataki sabuni ya Dettol, anataka lotion ya kuoga, body wash. Anambia wewe, mwambie hiyo vyote ndugu, mimi nakuunga nini? Mkono. Soma, utafanya namna gani? Utanunua. Na kuunga siku pingi. So what did we say number 1 was? Parents, point number 1, raise your standards. Teachers, raise your standards. Mwalimu, and Madam Principal, I want to salute you. Wewe msichana, wewe msichana, I salute you. Yaani wewe mwenyewe ni smart. Walimu wako smart. Wasichana smart. Pigia huyu msichana makofi. I was so happy. You know, you are the embodiment of raised what? Standards. Embodiment of raised standards. Wasichana after graduation utaenda kutafuta kazi. Kuna mahali ambapo ukienda umevaa namna fulani umepoteza nini? Kazi. Learn. Point number 2, which means I'm remaining with 1. You know, last month I ended, could be the annals of history, and I'm happy that sister is here. She can understand what I'm talking about. I have gone to America, organized a conference, sponsored by me, na pesa ya kutoka Wakoi katika jamhuri teule ya Kenya. Wazungu wakakuja mkutano yangu. Wale nilialika kuhubiri kawapatia habasha kama ya ule mwenye nilipatia kidogo sana ni $1,200 US. That is about 200,000. Yule nilipatia pesa kidogo. And that was my dream. Mimi wanacheka wachungaji. Wewe usisalimie kwa mzungu wangu. Mzungu wangu. We have a God in heaven. And the God of heaven, the God who created America, is the God of this school. There is no difference. I will trust in God. I trust in it. I will trust in God. Point number 2. Change your limiting beliefs. Change your limiting beliefs. A belief that, unajua wanafunzi wa hapa wasichana hata hawapendi sciences. It's a belief, Madam Principal. Wasichana hapa wanapita, so you are a STEM center. Wasichana wanapita. That belief that huwezi, mama, usiseme ati wewe huwezi. Mnajua nini, wengi hapa ni watu wa dini. Mtume Paulo anasema ya kwamba ninayaweza mambo yote katika nani? Kristo anitiaye nguvu. So change your limiting belief. And some of you parents, you believe witchcraft. Yaani unaamini uchawi kuliko kumwamini Mungu. Hata wengine vile mko hapa na mnabii wakati hata waruhusu kuzungumza na watoto. Nasema kwamba mama ilienda kwa mtumishi. Mtumishi akaomba roho ekanena. Roho ekafanya nini? Ekanena. Roho ekaonyesha kaburi. Roho ekaonyesha. Mimi wazee ukiona tu mama mke wako ameleta mtu wa aina huyo. Askari hapa asisikie nimesema. Tengeneza Cyprus. Nimesema wakija askari wasisikie nilikuwa nasema. Tengeneza nini? Cyprus, kwa sababu askari atanishtaki ati umechukua sheria wapi? Mkononi. Tengeneza Cyprus. Ambia huyo mtu shika kuza nini? Ukuta. Unasema kuna kaburi kwa hii boma. Uliona? Nani alikuonyesha? Chwa. Alikuonyesha saa ngapi? Chwa. Imeandikwa katika kitabu gani? Wasichana, hamna mtu atawaroga nyinyi. Kwa hivyo usiishi ukiwa na uoga kwamba mtu atafanya nini? Anakuroga. Hakuna mtu wa kulaani. Wewe umebarikiwa. The belief that you cannot be promoted. The belief that for you to be promoted in Kenya you must be corrupt. Just get that belief out of you. And every day declare, I'm going to be promoted. Speak it by faith. And you will have it. Wakati malaika alimkujia Maria, mwambia salamu Maria, umejaa neema. Mwambia utamzaa mwana, utakuwa mwokozi wa ulimwengu. Maria alisema hilo halitafanya nini? Litawezekana. Lakini baadaye alipoelezwa vile itatendeka na Roho, Maria akasema kwamba na itendeke kwangu. Naona kwa nini hamjui Maria alisema nini? Na itendeke kadri ya nini? Ya neno lako. Kwa sababu malaika alimwambia yasiyowezekana na mwanadamu yanawezekana na nani? Na Mungu. That's it. So, wasichana, a belief that chemistry is hard is difficult. Like if I am an academic coach, you go to any school all over the world, I mean in the whole Republic of Kenya, a village school and a national school. You ask the students, when I'm doing academic coaching like for chemistry, from one, always they will talk about air and combustion. They will talk about acid, bases and indicators. And then form 3, ukifika form 3 wao wanajibu tu kama kwaya. Ukiuliza kwamba which one is the most difficult topic in form 3 chemistry? Kwaya wao inaimba namna gani? More. Unasikia? And this is something that students have made in their minds and you can't remove it from them. Wasichana, the mole is amazing. Could be the easiest if you wanted to, if I would say. But what you need to do is to receive it. Don't believe the lie of the form 3s. You form 2s. Don't believe the lie of the form 3s that it is hard. Form 3s don't believe the lie of form 4s. Form 4s don't believe the lie of those who finished. But that the mole is difficult. It is a negative belief that we must do away with. Lastly, I think I'm remaining with 1 minute. Fikisha 15. Lastly, change your strategy. Mwalimu, if you have taught a subject, this Loreto Girls is your school number 4. Na kila shule yenye huo unaenda hii subject yako inakuwa tu 4.3, 4.29, 4.26. Alafu sasa inaruka tena inakuwa 4.28. Alafu siku ya yeye anasema kwamba as you may realize there was positive honestly, miaka 7 uko kwa nini? Kwa 4. You know, madam, we are not doubting that teacher. We are not doubting their qualification. But there is a problem with their strategy. So you must change strategy. For us to wazazi, kama wewe ni yule mzazi ambaye lazima wafukuze mtoto akuje nyumbani ndio pesa zifanye nini? Sipatikane. Change that strategy. Uanze kulipa school fees wakati wamefunga shule. Like mimi hao wanafunzi wangu 650 nalipia school fees. Naambia shule mwanafunzi wangu asiwahi fukuzwa. And I'm the best when it comes to payment of school fees. Kwa watoto ambao nalipia school fees. So, mimi nalipa school fees hata December. Hata Christmas Day. Nalipa school fees. Naambia principal kuja chukue check. I have no problem with that. Please change your strategy. Kuna watu hapa unaona mtu mwenyewe anasema mimi hata sielewi ni kwa nini siolewi. Watu wengine tulisaliwa na wao ndio graduate wameolewa mimi siolewi. Wewe mwenyewe mbinu zako ni mbaya. Unafanya mbinu. Kuna mbinu tu namna unavaa dada. Watu hata ukienda na ndugu kwao for introduction na mama kwa nyumba anasema, "Sasa, ni kitu yako." Jaribio imefanya nini? Imetufikia. Jaribio imeingia popo. Ama wewe kijana wewe unashangaa kwa nini hupati ajira? Is the way you do it. Now, I have 2 homes, temporary homes in America. And one is in West Virginia in a place called Manhattan. And I'm the only person of color in that place. The only chocolate person. Others are not. So, as young as Mona, I'm chocolate. Yes. So, hiyo wazee hawaelewi. Sisi na wasichana ndio tunaelewa. I'm chocolate. I'm not black. Si black kama hawa wengine. I'm chocolate. So what happens is, and then I have another place in Madison, Wisconsin. So one day during spring, so summer, winter imeisha, spring, na nikavaa shati langu kitenge la Kenya. Natembea hapo nje kwa barabara. Vijana wawili wa Marekani weusi wakaja kwangu wakaniambia, "Hey man, you're dressed like you come from Africa." And I said, "Oh yeah. Now which part of Africa?" "Kenya." "Man, we really like to be in Africa because in Africa we are told men can have men wives." And then in the process, the boys told me, angalia wa mama, na wazee. In the meantime, Rongi iko wapi? Amefungia hapo. Underwear 3, underwear kwingine hapa, underwear kwingine hapa, kwingine kumekuja kwa mgongo. And he's saying, and Mimi, this guy, man, these people don't give us no job. You know, the broken English of the black Americans. These people don't give us no job. And I told them, "Come over, boys." I told them, if I took you today back to the village where I was born called Matigo, and I presented you to my mother to take care of her cows, she will dismiss you on arrival. And they were like, "What?" They said, "Because you even don't know yourself." "What do you mean?" I said, "These things that you are showing, what are they called? They are called underwear. They are not called topwear. They are for private. They are not for public consumption." Mungu awabariki.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kisabuli.